your restorative yoga practice this morning. As part of our practice today, we want to make sure that we have lots of pillows on hand. So whether they're from your bed, from a couch, toss cushions, whatever you can find to help support your practice and create this nest of rest that we are looking for. We are also going to be using a chair today. So if you can find a kitchen chair or use the edge of a couch, you can also just use a regular comfy chair. As long as you can get your legs up into that 90-degree position, whatever surface you have available is wonderful. So let's officially begin. So we're beginning in a seated position on our mat. A cross-leg position, what we also call Sukhasana, is where we will start. It may be uncomfortable for you on the floor in this position. Low back might be bugging. So bring the hips up onto a blanket or a towel, whatever you have available. So when you lift up the hips, I'm just going to demonstrate by simply having that folded blanket, and maybe you need to double it up, bringing it under the hips and then sliding yourself back on, allowing the legs to come forward. It's going to help to tilt your pelvis and come into a really nice, comfortable position. The other thing you might find is that through the hips, this is very tight. So we want to support underneath the legs. So those pillows actually have a function. Besides, you can fold them up and support the legs. So this is actually comfortable. It's a good place to sit. So once you've landed and you are comfortable, we're just going to begin by finding a little bit of breath here, a little bit of landing. So if you'd like to bring your palms to face the sky and just release the backs of your hands to your knees, we're just going to close our eyes here. We're going to use this as our opening breath work. So please begin to feel into your breath. We're moving from our thinking brains into our feeling brains. And as we notice our breath here, I just want you to see it, not try to change it. And just see where it's coming from. And my bet always is that the breath is just maybe moving your upper chest. And so by letting go of that breathing pattern, we will intentionally begin to breathe by drawing the breath in through your nose and letting it go out through your nose. And notice, as you draw the breath in through the nose, can you feel it touching the back of your throat? And then follow it from there. Can you notice your ribcage expanding? Can you feel the belly soften with breath? And can you feel that lightness that arrives? And then begin to see your exhale. Feel the temperature of the breath as it touches your upper lip. Feel that warmth. Notice as everything comes back to center, the belly button draws to spine, the ribcage draws in. Feel the sit bones land closer to the earth as you feel that release, that grounding here. Continuing to breathe with intention, we begin to lengthen the breath. So making the breath a little bit deeper and fuller, and then slowly releasing on the exhale to match that length of breath. We establish Samavriti, balanced breathing. So the fuller the breath, at the top edge, you begin to feel that you can't possibly bring any more breath in. And I want you to pause there, feel the fullness, and then slowly exhale, pausing at the bottom to feel the emptiness of breath. Continuing this way, feeling, sensing, and noticing. What does it feel like to just simply be and breathe? And then I'd like you to feel the lightness of your inhales, as though it feels as though the crown of your head can reach a little bit closer to the sky. And then notice with your exhales that you become just that little more grounded, that little more centered, and releasing all that holds you back. Inhale to fill with possibilities, joy, happiness. Exhale to let go of resistance and fear, leaving it there. One more round of Samavriti breath, a nice big inhale, deep and full, pause at the top, and then a nice slow exhale to let it all go. And then from here, we're going to find a little bit of movement. So just let your breath find you. An easy breath, let it continue to be full. Begin to wiggle those fingers, maybe wiggle the toes. Slowly looking left and right through the neck. We wake up through the neck. Bringing the head back to center, just gently guide your chin to chest, and then take the gaze up. And then one more time, chin to chest, bring the gaze up. And then when you're ready, opening your eyes, turn your palms to face your knees. We're going to switch your feet, or switch the legs. So opposite cross to what you have just had the legs in. So changing it up to the uncomfortable version, the one that you did not choose. And just coming through a few easy movements to wake up the rest of the body. So we're going to come into a twist first. So I'd like you to bring your left hand behind you, just resting it on the floor on fingertips. Find nice tall body here. So engage the core, lengthen the spine. Right hand comes to the outside of your left thigh. We inhale to lengthen, and on the exhale, just guide yourself to a twist to the left. So as you breathe here, I want you to continue to feel as though the crown lengthens towards the sky, and let the exhales bring depth to your twist. It feels as though you're shining the heart to your left side. Engage the core, so let the twist come from the abdomen. Keep lengthening the crown of your head for the inhale, and on the exhale, maybe this time the gaze comes over your shoulder. One more breath, soften your legs. Inhale, come back to center. We'll just gently switch sides. So we're going to bring our left hand to the outside of the right thigh, right hand behind you. Inhale to lengthen up, and then exhale to find the twist now on the right side. So still staying in that nice tall spine position, feeling length from tailbone to crown. With your breath deepening as you're able to, and then the gaze eventually maybe comes over that right shoulder. One more breath, and then very gently inhaling back to center. When we come back to center, we're just going to take a nice side bend here. So you're going to let your left fingertips come to the left side of the body and just away a little bit. So just find that little bit of a lean there. Give yourself some room. We're going to extend the right arm off to the side. Inhale to sweep up, reach up. So find a nice long side body. Pause here for a moment, and I want you to feel yourself root that right hip down towards the mat. Reach the right fingertips up towards the sky, and then bend into that left elbow. Place the palm of the hand on the floor, and just come as deeply as you are able. We're inhaling to lengthen and exhaling to deepen. So feeling that rooting of the right hip, move away from your right shoulder, and then just see if you can open the rib cage a little more towards the right side. So open up, make space, one more breath. And then very gently, we'll inhale and float up. So right hand's going to guide us. We're going to flip to the other side. Right fingertips come down, move away from your hip. Left fingertips reach, and on the exhale, find that side bend. Let the left hip settle towards the floor as you reach those left fingertips. Gaze can come up and under the arm as your neck allows. And just feel the breath in the body. Expand from the inside. Make space with the breath. One more here. And then very gently inhaling to find your way all the way back up. So good. So from here, we're going to come into our first restorative posture. So we need pillows. We need an eye covering, a blanket, and if you have a towel. So I'll show you as you gather your things together where we're going with this. So we're starting in our basic relaxed pose. We're going to support the legs with these pillows. So they act as our bolster. So we're going to stack them lengthwise on our mat. And then it depends on your legs, how many you're going to need to stack up, but we want the knees to be supported. We're going to roll up a towel to support underneath our ankles. So if you want to get that into place, I just use a bath towel and fold it a few times and then roll it up. It's going to support the Achilles so that the feet aren't actually touching the floor. We're going to place that. So you just want to have that ready beside you. Have your eye covering ready beside you. And then if you would like a support for your neck, because you know that lying flat on your back is not comfortable, you can also use a great big pillow if that would feel better. We just want to have that neck comfortable as we lie the upper body down. So from here, we go. So we're going to come to sit side saddle. So I have for my legs 2 pillows lengthwise. I'm going to take another pillow and cross it over like I'm creating a plus sign. And I'm going to use that to bring my legs up and over. So sitting side saddle to your structure, your support, and then just turning yourself to bring the legs over top here. So the backs of my thighs are supported. The bundle up underneath gives me a little bit more height. And then I'm going to bring this towel and put it underneath my Achilles so that my feet are not touching the floor. They are completely supported and resting. If you know you're going to be cool down here on the floor, this is when you would bring your blanket and just get it started. So you would just bring it over the legs and the feet. So you've got it started and then you can bring it up further. I'm not going to use my blanket because I want you to be able to see what I'm doing here. So feet are supported, knees are supported. Your knees are above your ankles, important point to notice. And then just lay your body back down. So slowly ease down. As you come onto your back, you're going to probably feel like you shifted a little bit. So just readjust, bring those hips in a little bit. There should be about a 45-degree angle here on the thigh, which naturally brings your low back into contact with the mat. So I want you to feel into that. From here, notice if you're going to be uncomfortable through the neck, roll up a blanket, bring a pillow, support that space. So by just filling in that cervical spine, so between the shoulders and the base of your skull, and a little bit behind the head, it's going to feel much, much better. And then from there, we're just going to open our arms out wide. So arms extend off to either side. If this feels like a good and comfortable place you've arrived in, then stay. If you need to adjust anything, comfort is the most important part of our restorative practice. It allows us to quiet and settle in. So just take a moment. If everything's good as we lay, you're going to use your eye covering and you're going to place it over your eyes, over the forehead, and then just gently use your hands to wrap that towel around the back of your head if you have enough fabric or material, depending on what you have. That little bit of pressure is going to add to that quietening of the brain and the body. So if you are in place, maybe give your forehead a little squeeze. If I was there with you, I would give you that little squeeze. And then simply release your arms wide onto the floor. Palms are facing the sky, shoulders are sliding down and onto your back. And then from here, I want you to drop in and feel once again. So we begin by coming back to the breath, feeling that rise and fall of the ribs. Notice your belly button. And I want you to notice the spaces on the back of your body that are connecting to the floor. Can you let go of your legs? Just let the toes roll open naturally if that's where they find their way. Can you let go of your hands and your arms? And allow your mind to settle in to the center of your chest. So as we come into heart center, the very middle, I just want you to feel. What do you feel in that space? What comes into your mind's eye? Does it feel open and vast? And within that space, can you see a small light? I want you to imagine that light there. And I want you to imagine that with every breath, every inhale, that light grows a little bit brighter. And with your exhales, you send that light into the body, whatever space in your body that is calling that light. And then the next breath, maybe a different space, you send the light. until by the time we are finished in this posture, your entire body is glowing and shining with this light, this feeling of warmth. Maybe yours is a color. And so breathing and releasing and dropping into stillness. I'm going to leave you in silence. And so don't be alarmed or be checking to see if I'm still here. I am still here. I'm holding the space for you. So just rest. Give yourself permission to just be and simply breathe. Beginning to just become a little more aware once again of your breath. It's like a round of deepening of the breath here. So drawing your inhale in through your nose and just letting your belly fill that lower abdomen with breath. And then on the exhale, just Feeling that belly button drop to spine and helping that breath leave through the nostrils. With your second round of breathing, drawing first into the belly and then into your ribs. And slowly letting go the ribs first and then the belly. And then final round, inhale into your belly, into your ribs, all the way up to the top of your collarbones. Pause and feel the fullness. And then slowly let it go. Collarbones, rib cage, and belly. And then from there, just begin to feel into the body once again and maybe wiggle the fingers and toes for a moment. And then from this place, we're going to find transition, but beginning by engaging your belly button to spine, we're going to bend into the knees and bring the soles of your feet to the pillows. So take your time, let each foot land, bending into the knees. And as you do so, then just bend into the elbows and let your hands rest on your hips here. We're just going to take a moment and find a little bit of a pelvic movement to lengthen through that low back through your spine. So with your inhale, I'd like you to feel yourself point your tailbone down towards the floor and your low back lifts up and away from the floor. So that's the pelvic floor moving down. And then in the opposite direction with the exhale, I want you to bring your belly button to your spine, press your low back into the mat, just sort of feel that pelvic floor lift up slightly. So this lengthens the spine, it gives some nice room and alignment back there. We're just going to move with our breath. Inhale, pointing the tailbone down, so rotating, lifting that low back up, make space. And then exhale, drawing belly button to spine, low back to mat. Pelvis lifts up just a little. And then one more time, inhale, low back moves. Exhale, press low back down and tailbone lifts up slightly. Just hold that lengthening. So drawing down and into the body just for a moment, I want you to close your eyes and just imagine the spine completely in alignment, lengthened, feeling supported, releasing the tension and just enjoying the support of the floor. Take one more nice big breath there. And then just inhale to release any of that holding and muscle tension. We're going to roll over to our right side. So to help us get there, let's draw the knees into the body. Hands can come to your shins or just behind the thighs. Give yourself a little squeeze, so guide the thighs in towards the belly. And then just rolling over to that right side. So you can extend the right arm, roll all the way over onto the right. Pause for a breath here. So just maybe use your hand as a pillow, the right arm, the bicep. And just quietly and softly press up to seated from there. So using the left hand to find your way up. You want to remain nice and soft and calm, no sudden movement. And so from here, we're going to come into a supported side bend. Sorry, not side bend, twist, supported twist. So I'd like you to use the stack that you have available here already. And we're going to shift it. So we're going to make a nice long structure down the length of your mat. So you can move the towel or whatever you've used there to support your ankles and switch the orientation. So we're creating a bolster is essentially what's happening here. So a nice long stack. You might find if you need something firmer that blankets and couch pillows work much nicer for you. So maybe play with that a little bit. The other thing is that we will be sitting and leaning against our hip on the left side to begin. So you might want to bring a blanket to place underneath your hip, just for a little bit of extra cushioning. If you're on a carpet, you might not need that. It just makes it more comfortable, and that's what we're looking for, is comfortable. So then coming to sit on that blanket if that's available. So we're going to bring the legs into that pinwheel position. So if you want to sit with your back facing the bolsters, the cushions first, and just allow your knees to fall to the left. Your left thigh is going to be parallel, and you're going to snug yourself up kind of nicely. And then that right knee is lining up with the foot, and the foot comes at a 90-degree angle. So you're going to adjust as we twist. So don't feel as though maybe this right hip doesn't feel good right now. That's okay. It'll feel better soon. You're pressing into that left hip. We're going to spin up. So you're going to bring those arms up and then twist towards those cushions. Allow the left hand to come behind and allow the right hand to come on the opposite side. So we're feeling like we are lengthening from the left hip through the crown of the head. So I want you to take a breath here and lengthen up. So you're leaning forward, you're coming onto that left, it's your greater trochanter. So pivot if you need to, adjust so that it feels comfortable. And then you're gonna lay yourself down from the abdomen all the way to the chest, and then allow the left ear to come on to that pillow blanket bolster. Release your hands once you get there. And if it feels okay, you're gonna bring your hands up and onto the pillows. You want those wrists above the elbows if that's available for you. So you wanna make the stack even higher if this feels like a lot for you. The more support you have underneath the chest and the head, the more of a lift you'll be provided with. But if this feels good, if you have landed and this feels good, we're gonna lay our head down. We're gonna close our eyes. You're gonna adjust your legs if you need to make it more comfortable. You can bring a pillow for underneath that right knee, if that would give you a little more comfort. We're not here for long, but we're here long enough. And so then from there, we close our eyes and we drop in. And feeling in this twist, in this position, that we are lengthening with every inhale and exhale. Releasing and letting go of that right hip so the top right leg is very heavy. And then feel as though the heart is reaching for the support of your pillows. Find your breath. Settle in and let that energy move within you. As though you can imagine from the crown of the head to the tips of the toes, a constant fluid motion of light and energy floating through. And always coming back to center of heart, that imagery, that idea of healing from within as you breathe and feel, softening to stillness, resting here. Using your last few breaths here to really expand through the rib cage. You can soften the heart a little bit closer towards the support. You can release any tension through the back. Take one more breath here. And then very gently from that position, just find your hands close to underneath the shoulders, and then just slowly pressing yourself up. We're going to simply pivot to the other side. So you're going to allow your knees to lift, allow the back to face your pillows, and then simply switch to the other side. So rotating through and now bringing that opposite side. Support, find length, find the pinwheel that works, and really work to lengthen the spine first and then find your way over. So the right hand comes around, the left hand comes around. Feel the tailbone reach away, get up on that outside of that right hip, and then begin that slow lower. So from the belly to the chest, and then just allowing the head to come down, gazing towards the knees, and release the ear. You want to adjust your hands so then we can find them resting on top of the bolsters that is available to you. allowing for comfort. So stacking, maybe noticing that this side is not the same. So just doing what feels good here. Restorative yoga is comfort. So once you find that landing point, closing your eyes, becoming aware of this side, how it feels compared to the other. And then slowly dropping in. Feeling into the expansion of the breath and noticing what it feels like when it meets with the support. Almost as though you are pressing the support away with your breath. So feel that little bit of resistance. Let the shoulders soften. Let your mind soften. There's nowhere to go. There's nothing to do but this. So in this moment with your breath, breathe, lengthen the spine, allow the twist to arrive with gentleness. Every exhale brings you just that little bit deeper. So quietly breathing. Notice your legs for a moment and just see if you can soften them. Let the top leg become very heavy and feel that space grow between that last rib and your hip. And as though you are one long leaf unfurling, allow the crown of your head to feel as though it is moving away from your tailbone. Soften the front of the body towards your support one more time. Take a nice long exhale to finish. And then very gently, guiding your hands underneath the shoulders once again to help press you back up to seated, slowly rising, taking your time. And then once you land, just extend the legs out in front for a moment and just give them a little bit of a pump. So just letting everything settle back into that direction. From here, we're coming into a supported fish position. We're going to leave the pillows exactly as they are. You may want to bring them up a little bit higher if that would feel good. You might also want a blanket for your head. So we will be coming to sit with our sit bones up against it and laying the upper body and our back onto the cushion. So if you just want to have a blanket ready to go where you know your head approximately is going to land, you're going to have your eye covering ready as well. I'm going to remain sitting on my blanket just for my hips because it feels good on the floor. And then you also would like to have a couple of cushions or rolled up towels to support the thighs here as we open into a butterfly, a Baddha Konasana position. So beginning first, of course, with your extra blanket, we're just having it ready on the feet so that you can get ready to cover up as you go. Supporting first the legs, so we'll bend into the knees, bring those cushions nice and tight up against the thighs. So this is never going to be about feeling a stretch. I want you to feel as though you're releasing and being held. So make sure the inner groins are comfortable. The soles of the feet are coming together, and then we're going to lay ourselves back. So you want to have the cushions quite close to that low back, your sit bones, the hips, and then just let the upper body come back. So this will be a little bit of an opening for that low back. Then the upper torso is supported here, and then that's where you're going to bring that blanket or towel in. So you always want to support that space, especially if you get discomfort there. And then feel as though there's like a down angle with the nose towards the chest. So there's a little bit of a lift in that forehead. So check in, is your nose up and away, or is it down just slightly? So it should be down just slightly. That's where you want to feel that. Legs are comfortable. Upper body, we're going to open up this chest here. So we're going to let the elbows come down and the palms come up. I just felt my eye pillow there. Before you place those arms, get that eye pillow into place, eye covering. So let's really find a nice deep rest, relaxation in this space. So again, forehead, eyes, wrap it around the head to give that little bit of pressure if that would feel good for you. And then let's release the arms. You want to maybe feel like you're pinching or squeezing those pillows between the upper arms, the elbows are bent, and then soften. So palms of the hands are facing the sky. And then feel and notice, is this comfortable? Is it good? How is that low back feeling? If low back is uncomfortable, bunch those pillows up just a little bit more to give a little more support. So we have to work with what we have, and supporting that natural curve in the back is a great place. It should feel like the ribs are flaring up a little bit. So even take your hands and guide them to your ribs. They should feel open, those low ribs. There's lots of space for breath here. And then it feels as though collarbones have lengthened because those arms are open. And then we just simply arrive. So supported fish is such a beautiful place. Hearts are open, body is moving in an opposite direction. We are rounded forward so often. So feel that openness. Feel the shoulders sliding away from your ears and down towards the floor. With every inhale, see if you can make those ribs just open a little bit wider, as though you are creating space from the inside, exploring the inside of your body with breath, making room for all of your chakras to simply spin in wellness. Everything functioning exactly as it needs to be. Feel your hips become very heavy and let go of any holding in your legs. Soften the back of the body towards the props. Let yourself be held and supported here. Now allow your breath to travel into the abdomen, expanding that space. And then just soften in. Allow that easy breath to arrive. Feel stillness wash over you. And give yourself permission to rest deeply. And I will remind you, if the monkey mind begins, come back to that very center of your chest and imagine that light. Every inhale, it grows, and every exhale, you send it into some space in the body that needs it. until the entire body is filled. Quietly feeling and breathing. Coming back to your breath. Coming back to your body and just feeling if there's any spaces, just taking a moment to scan. Can you let go of any further holding, any patterns there in the body? And then you're going to take your hands and just gently guide them behind the thighs. We're going to close the legs together and just extend the legs long for a moment. So one by one, lengthen. Pausing here for a moment, just let the hips settle back, and then just maybe wiggling the toes or rolling those ankles in circles, pointing and flexing. Just move that energy just a little bit again. And then to find our way out of this posture, just bending into the knees, let the soles of the feet come to the mat. or to the floor, and just extend that right arm out to the side, press the hand, push it into the floor, turn the palm down, and just roll over onto that right side. Just guide yourself in. Allow the head to rest on the pillow and just pause, and then press yourself up to seated once again. So from here, this is where we need the chair. So we're bringing our legs up onto the chair for Viparita Karani. So if you have the couch, a sitting chair available, I'm going to bring my folding chair over because it's easy, but so is the couch. So this is a posture, especially with a couch, everyone has a couch, that is wonderful just to take whenever you have an opportunity. With a folding chair or a kitchen chair, you might want to place a towel or a blanket onto the seat to make it more comfortable. I also would ask that you bring a blanket, a cushion, a towel, even a pillow will work here to give you an extra little bit of cushioning for the sit bones. It's also going to support that lower lumbar just a little bit. So if you have one, a great thing to grab. You need a pillow just for your neck. Again, if that is something that you know is bothersome. We're going to extend our arms overhead today once we come down. So if you know that the arms do not reach the floor, it's also handy to have a little stack of pillows behind for the arms to rest on. So I think I've talked enough. Here we go. So coming to sit on that position right beside the chair or the couch, we're going to lean the body back. So twist, extend, bring one leg up at a time. Feel. So you're going to know right away if you need to bring your hips up a little bit further. You shouldn't feel strained. It should feel soft and relaxed. So your feet should not be up in the sky. You should feel your calves supported by the chair. From there, you're going to lean back. Now, again, if you need that blanket, now would be a really good time to grab the blanket. I'm going to guide my toes underneath the chair and bring your toes to point towards each other. You're going to sort of have your knees pointing towards each other. So adjusting your calves, your calf muscles will help to find that little bit of a spin and then release all the way down. So if you're feeling pressure on the backs of the calves or the knees, something a little bit more underneath the hips is going to help to bring the hips up and alleviate that pressure. So feel in and notice. So toes are pointing towards each other, so your heels are spun out just slightly. That's going to put the legs into a nice position of rest. So if everything feels good there, adjust for the head. So just supporting it enough, but feeling like heart and forehead are on the same plane. So this is more of a Shavasana type position. And then if that all feels good, cover your eyes. So allow the eye covering to come into play. And then from there, if you have the ability to, we're going to bring those arms up and over. So extend them up and then float them back and bend into the elbows and allow the palms to face the sky, but let the arms be supported. So bring those pillows up and along so that it's not uncomfortable. So there shouldn't be any discomfort in that shoulder joint. And if that just simply is not available to you, you can always bring those arms alongside body. If you're feeling tightness in the chest, as long as it's not pain and just a little bit of resistance, it's a good thing. That's okay. It allows us to feel those sensations and make space in the fascia and the connective tissue. And then once you have arrived and you are there, I want you to feel the legs for a moment. Just make sure you're not holding them in place. Can you soften your hips and your thighs and your knees and just let them be? And then notice the back of your body, supported and resting on the floor. Feel your shoulder blades. Notice the backs of the arms. Feel your fingers and your thumbs. I want you to feel them soften. Let them naturally curl in. Let them rest. And then feel your breath. Feel the rib cage opening wide, as well as the very middle of your abdomen. So you can imagine just above your belly button where your diaphragm lives. Every time you inhale, feel that space expand. The ribs open, the belly rises, and on the exhale, let everything drop back into center. so heavy here, completely supported. And then I want you to notice, if you can feel, that sensation of energy flowing from the feet down and into the body. You're bringing everything back to center. The lymph, the Panavayu, that life force energy, we are drawing it all back into ourselves for us. We are filling our buckets as we breathe and rest here. Softly and quietly, just letting go. You're more than welcome to stay as you are, but if you would like to finish your practice in a final traditional Shavasana, I would invite a little bit of movement here once again, just to help you transition. So we're slowly going to float the arms up overhead to begin. So bending into the elbows first, and then just allowing those elbows to come to the floor, palms of the hands then rotate down. And bending into each of the knees, we'll bring the soles of the feet to the edge of the chair. And just let that low back reach into the floor. And then from here, we have a couple of options. So if you have a chair, as I do, as an individual chair, you can just allow the legs to come down on either side of the chair and extend wide for your final Shavasana. If your legs are up on a couch, just guide those knees into the body and roll over to your right side, so that then you can sort of wiggle your way back or just roll over to a nice flat back wherever you've landed. Once you're in a position flat on your back on the floor, bring those legs wide, let the toes roll open, and then just gently press into the back of your head to lift the heart up a little bit, slide the shoulders down and onto the back, and then turn the palms to face the sky, arms come wide. If your eye pillow has come off, please place it back again. And begin the final posture of our practice, that place where we absorb and become all that we have done. Feel into the vibration, the energy moving, that sensation, tingling maybe. I like to think about it as sparkles floating within me, those yoga sparkles. And as we soften here in stillness one last time, Feel your heartbeat. See the light that lives within. Allow the breath to brighten it and shine it, so that by the time this Shavasana is over, you are glowing. Bucket completely full. So breathing softly and quietly, I will bring you back to the surface with a few words after a few moments. Trust the wait. Embrace the uncertainty. Enjoy the beauty of becoming. When nothing is certain, anything is possible in life and in yoga. And so with these words, I gently awaken you from your brief Shavasana. You are more than welcome to stay exactly as you are. I encourage you to stay exactly as you are. But if you would like to close the class with me and come to seated for a breath, just gently begin to find movement and rolling fingers and toes, wiggling, rolling the head from side to side, and then just slowly rolling over to your right side, pausing for a breath, and then pressing up to seated to join me in that easy Sukhasana pose that we started our practice with. And then once we are seated, just taking a final breath together here. So releasing the fingertips off to the side of the body, turning the palms to face the sky. And we'll inhale to sweep up and reach up. So allow the arms to come overhead, allow the gaze to follow as though we are collecting all of the amazing energy that surrounds us. We capture it at the top, and on the exhale, we draw it down and into heart center. Bowing our chin to chest, we'll take one more breath. Inhale deeply and fully, and exhale just as deeply and fully. Pausing for a moment of gratitude for yourself for making time to practice. And I thank you so much for the privilege of guiding you here today. From my heart to yours, namaste.